Secrets for self-help from anxiety. Understanding that there is a time for stillness and a time for movement. When we remain still during times of chaos and uncertainty, we then allow the situation to settle down, and when it settles down we will be in a better position to see clearly. We don't know until we know, and we can only know when we know that we don't know. If you feel restless, unfocused, agitated, tired, disinterested, demotivated, or stuck, consider it is about time to sit still, detach oneself from the happening, and understand what could be causing this condition. What is that one thing which is weighing you down? What is it that you must let go of? Only then do we come to know what anxiety truly is all about. When these feelings become stronger and hinder your state of mind, then our conditions are altered. When we state that these states of mind and emotions are conditions, it also implies that the conditions can be altered. When the person is anxious, the conditions can alter their emotions and disturb their mind. It is clearly evident that the mind, when it instructs the brain to calm down the amygdala and detaches itself from the disturbance and moves into stillness, has the possibility to alter the conditions and emotions. This can also be said as mind over matter. It is most likely that these conditions in life occur when we reach a point of transition or crossroads of our life path. When we are moving on a straight highway or an expressway, it is very easy to keep driving the road until we reach a junction or crossroads. But when we are very sure of our journey and are aware of the route in which we are traveling, there appears full clarity. In the event of not knowing the route, or not clear of the destination, then the crossroads bring forth conflicting thoughts and doubts. When the doubting mind grows stronger and agitated, it stops to believe in the person who tries to navigate through the confused condition. This state of movement is sure to create a whole lot of negative or unfavorable conditions, which eventually brings the victim to a standstill state of uncertainty. Every time when anxiety is triggered, one enters the state of uncertainty, because anxious thinking is about having negatively perceived thoughts of near future events. When in doubt, wait is the best policy. It is a very well-known fact that any work done in haste will end up in waste. So, why would anyone do something that would end up in the waste? Obviously, every person would like to do his work to fetch themselves a favorable outcome from the work that they did. Most of the time the intention would be correct unless, or until they are influenced by addictive substances, which have taken over their senses. But it is always true that when one is out of their senses, it means they are out of their mind, and in the process they don't have a proper direction of path that will lead them towards the right outcome. In this condition, the distorted reality is driving them towards a movement which is to fulfill the sensory thirst of lust, which could also be told as the distorted desire of intent. This movement in space and time could rip apart one's reputation and life. If one can be aware of it, or at least have good counsel around them to constantly bring them back to awareness, then they could let go of everything and practice stillness, which is the opposite of their movement. So, in this context, one can understand that stillness is not about just being motionless, but practicing oneself to remain still amongst the chaos around oneself. This brings us to the question of what chaos is then? Is it about the disorder or utter confusion? Where from does this condition originate? We use chaos mostly as an idiomatic expression. It's easy to picture the surrounding condition as soon as you say chaos, which means that the particular chaotic condition manifested itself because of the disorder in the mind or lack of clarity in the thought, which also is very clearly evident that this chaotic moment is in absence of stillness, and that person or the group or the place lacked complete order. Just like a few people say that random is also a pattern, then chaos too can be stated that there exists a typical order in the disorder. How then can one become aware of this state of mind? How then can one become orderly? How can this chaotic condition be rectified? It's like asking somebody to relax when they are agitated, or like asking somebody to concentrate when they are distracted. There have been many methods through one can try to bring in calmness, peace, focus and concentration. But the very first step that one must instill is that one must disengage from the current scene. For that to happen easily or quickly, the person must have the desire to change stronger than the desire to remain in the position, place or condition. We have seen the mud and water are together, fire and smoke are together. What is important is that one of the two must be left to settle down. The mud below the water when untouched settles down on its own, making the water to appear clearer. The same way the smoke too rises above and leaves the fire to settle down. How can we relate the water and mud example or the fire and smoke example with us? How do we relate stillness and movement with ourself? Which part of us should remain still and which part of us should move? The great Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu said, "Be still like a mountain and flow like the great river." What a profound statement that is. The river starts from its origin and keeps flowing continuously on its journey along many terrains. Every part of its journey is admired, be it the calm stream, or the rough stream, or the waterfall. It's just an amazing sight to see the flowing water. It is also considered very auspicious to bathe in the flowing river. Especially in India, taking a bathe in the holy Ganges is auspicious, as the Ganga is considered a very sacred and holy river. The same flow of the river at a given certain point, where it is very deep, could appear like a still water. This gave us the understanding to the Latin origin proverb, "Still waters run deep." This metaphor is applied to people who have in-depth knowledge, remain more calm and subtle outwardly. Thus we need to know and exercise that it is the body that needs to be trained for movement, whereas it is the mind that needs to be trained for stillness. Out of the very practices, the use of music is the best for training the body and mind in harmony with the soul. The body is the vehicle for the mind, and one who understands and respects this principle leads a very healthy and joyous life. Invariably, when we happen to see the people who are suffering have made their minds wandering and moving with chaos, adding fuel to the fire is leaving their bodies into stillness. So, stillness and movement are not the opposites of each other. Stillness is not the absence of movement either. Stillness is not static, but dynamic. It is harmony in itself. Unconflicted, uninhibited, and wholeheartedly that inner peace and bliss, which is your true essential nature. It is that very true essential nature from which all things manifest. It is in that very unconflicted inner peace you transcend to higher dimensions of life. It is in this very stillness lies the solution to many problems. Let go of all the noise and disorder. Let go of all the threats and conflicts in the mind. Detach from the confusion and chaotic conditions by letting go or just switching off all the existing thought patterns which led you to this compromising position. Be quiet and still that you may hear the life speak. It is in this serenity one understands that there is a time for stillness and a time for movement. Relax. Enjoy listening to music.